He did that. He was the old white guy you see hanging out with Meek Mill and Gucci Man and shit. So I guess if that falls under what Trump is talking about, that's the only prison reform associated with Trump that I can see, and that's really with Robert Kraft and Meek Mill. But Kraft is a Trump guy, so that's the only thing I can say. Other than that, that platinum plan sounds like some debit card or something.
Well, here exactly. This is supposed to be a form of reparations that he wants. It's like throwing a bone. And my whole thing is that you shouldn't have to wait to your reelection to try to push this out there. You should have been pushing this 4 years ago. If because you went into the office knowing that there was a lot of black people that didn't fuck with you. So you should have been on some more, all right, let me, pander to everybody as he's been doing. Now all of a sudden, and you have the power, like you said, oh, I'm gonna sign an executive order and do this and do that. Well, why isn't this being an executive order like beforehand? So basically his promise to Black America over 4 years is to increase access to capital in Black communities by almost 500 billion. So that's 3 million new jobs for the Black community, creating 500,000 new Black-owned businesses, increase access to capital in Black communities by 500 billion, safe urban neighborhoods with highest policing standards, which basically means they get the bust us upside our head even more, commit to working on a Second Step Act, access to better education and job training opportunities, give Black churches the ability to compete for federal resources for their community, bring better and tailored healthcare to address historic disparities, immigration policy that protects American jobs, advance home ownership opportunities, and enhance financial literacy in the Black community, onshoring manufacturing to advance jobs and develop opportunities for Black-owned businesses. So that's his plan. And basically, it sounds like a crock of shit, if you ask me.
On paper, it sounds good, but it's not going to happen.
It looks good, right?
Anybody that waits till October to talk about reparations in any form is suspect. Like, I ain't heard this nigga talk about nothing like this.
Right. And you guys can get more detailed information, because the thing I was just reading, it's like 3 pages or whatever, but it goes into detail about all of his pillars and then what he plans on doing. But I think it's bullshit. Like, and I saw somebody on Instagram being like, oh, this guy is for Black people. I told him, and I'm like, are you, like, did you lose your mind? Because this, like, why, like, once again, why do you have to wait till it's time to get a re-election to tell people, hey, this is what I'm going to try to do for you? You should have been did this. It's a little too late, homie. But if you want to cut the check, I'll take the check. I just don't know about voting for you.
Well, he's going to give you something. Like when he was giving out paper STEM checks, it was the first people who got them, it had a stamp with his face on it.
Right.
They call them Trump checks. So, I mean, he's going to,
he wants to have his own money.
Yeah. He doesn't care about poor people at all.
No, he doesn't care about anybody.
Yeah, unless you're rich. But one thing is, if he is going to do something for poor people and Black people, he's going to have his name all over that shit. Sure he's such an egomaniac. He's going to be like, look what I did for the Black folks. I saved the Blacks.
I saved them.
Yeah, that's the kind of covert racism that comes with it. Like,
right. And people are actually eating this up, and they're like, it's ugly, because I don't think people really understand the dangers of this man. Like, at least Joe Biden, he'll lie to us and he'll hold the lie. Like, he won't try to blatantly, right? He won't try to blatantly screw us over. Like, hey, I'm about to shaft you guys. Like, Trump's going to blatantly screw us over.
You'd rather deal with the guy that lies and still does it, or the guy who just tells you "fuck you"?
Listen. I've been lied to most of my entire life. Like, what difference does it make at this point? I don't know. I can't deal with this guy. Like, this guy, he just is too dangerous, man.
Go up there and they say, "What are you gonna do for the Blacks?" And he just said, "Nothing." I remember a clip of ODB and Maya on MTV back in the day. I don't know if you ever seen it. And they asked Old Dirty Bastard, "What are you gonna do for the community?" And they asked everybody, and they all had these plans and shit like that you had. And then they asked Dirty, and he was like, "Nothing." And they just started laughing. And he was dead serious. Like he didn't have no plan for the hood. Like he
because
was telling the
nobody
truth.
does.
Yeah, he's telling you. Like if Trump did that, I would laugh and probably respect that more.
Yeah,
If you just tell him like it, and Biden too. We know you ain't gonna do shit.
right. We know you ain't gonna like do anything that's like, because I think the problem with the black community when it comes to politicians and politics, and we're going to get off to these politics in a second, but the thing that I think that a lot of us lose sight of is that we want a president to do something specifically for us, whereas though that's never going to happen. Like the one thing that I've learned from watching other cultures, specifically the Asian community, is that they vote in blocks. You know what I'm saying? You never hear any Asian person get on TV or stand on a platform and complain about what America isn't doing for them because they do for self. They'll vote their
Mm,
people in. They'll get what they want. And if we take a page from a lot of these other um, nationalities that migrate here, I guess, and take a page out of their book and follow their lead, we probably would
yeah.
be a little better off. Like all we need is basically, the
We that
same
mindset,
resources.
yeah. And I've been saying that for years. One thing about Asians, and a lot of them don't fuck with us, and vice versa. But they, I always admire how they run they communities and how they vote in blocks, like you say. I think the reason why the immigrants can come over here and their mindset, they just bringing their culture and their business into here, the American dream. I think because we were brought here and we feel like white people owe us because
Right.
reparations, for example, they did us so wrong. We feel like they owe us. So instead of doing for ourselves, we sitting around waiting on them to pay us what they
Right.
owe us. And that's the
Right.
mindset we have. That's why we standing on blocks like, come on, help us, help me,
Right.
save me, white man. Because the white man, you feel like, because technically they
Which
do owe
they
us.
do owe us,
That's the
but we
mindset we
shouldn't
got.
be
But we got
standing
to get it
around
out.
waiting.
Yeah.
Right.
And we shouldn't. But the reason why is because that it's
That
psychological. Like,
yeah.
you feel
Because
like if
I
you
I saw a
always owe me.
commercial. Well, where was I? I think I was in the dentist office yesterday. I saw a commercial, and you know how they were saying, "Oh, if a victim of 9/11 compensation." I'm like, yo, they're giving people money who were displaced, and yeah, 9/11 was a real fucked up situation. But just the simple fact that they're giving these people money, and that happened well over almost 10 years ago. It should
20 almost.
Was it? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn,
Yeah,
almost 20. My bad.
2001.
Shit.
Nigga, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I've been out of school almost that long. Holy shit, it's almost been 20 years.
Shit.
But the fact that they're giving them money, and like we're like, yo, hello, like, and they're like, nah, shut up. It ain't got nothing to do with you. That should let you know where we are in this country. But like you
Yeah.
said, we shouldn't be sitting around waiting for a handout.
No, you should. This is like I said, it's just psychological. When you feel like somebody owe you, and it's been how many fucking years?
Right.
That's why black folks, a lot of us had that mentality. Because after watching that debate, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't tell people to vote or not, but if someone looked at me in the face and said I'm not voting after watching that debate, I couldn't get mad
Right.
because that
I
was
I, I could
discouraging.
understand.
Yeah, outside of the jokes and stuff, that was really discouraging to watch that. You feel like doomed as an American. You feel like hopeless. Like,
Yeah, but it's like it's hard to tell. Like I
yeah,
tell everybody,
that
there's
was very
no
uninspiring shit. Some uninspiring shit to see.
right. There's no telling of what's going to happen if people do get into that fear. I don't know, man. It's ugly. Like you said, people. If you don't, I can't tell nobody not to vote because I feel like I need to tell people like, yeah, get out there and vote because
Mm.
it ain't about me. It's about the future, whether it's my kids, my grandkids, or great grandkids,
Yeah, yeah.
however far it goes. Like, because at this point, like,
Mhm.
I'm sure that I'll be all right, but I don't know about them.
It's just not as I'm like it's just a lot of brilliant, creative, intelligent minds in this country. How do we get stuck with these two fucks?
Because you
How many millions of people here in this country? We got stuck with them too.
You know what it is? It's freaking people on social media who sit there and pick apart everybody. They want to dig into these people's background, right? They be like, oh, Joe Biden did this or Hillary did that. Nobody seems to bring up what the bullshit that Trump did. Only thing they can say is, oh, he's freaking disgusting. He freaking was gawking at his own daughter and he's rich and he failed businesses. It's like,
Hangs out with Jeffrey Epstein and all of
right.
that.
everybody they picked apart Bernie, they picked apart freaking Kamala. And Kamala is probably one of the younger people that should be at the
And
forefront. Like,
they bring up Trump's racial history and shit like that, like you said, Detention Part 5. I think with him, because when you got rich white people, wealthy white people, you know who they vote for,
yeah.
what party they represent.